and history, with the debates over history and politics going on at the time in England and France. So in other words, James was very much influenced by historians of the French Revolution when he wrote The Black Jacobins. This is the Elizabeth Glasgow.
Caribbean history and DNA. Caribbean history and DNA. In 1492 CE, Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic and landed in the Americas. He and his men were the first to wash up in the Bahamas, Hispaniola, Dominican Republic and Haiti, and eastern Cuba. From Europe They weren't the first to do so. But they weren't the first to wash up there. Not the first. But however, on their return to Spain, he and his brother Bartholomew later returned to the Americas and identified Hispaniola's land and indigenous people as potentially profitable for the Spanish crown. Bartholomew estimated about 1.1 million people lived on Hispaniola, but modern scholars have generally used the range of 250,000 to 1 million people. However, the actual Caribbean Aboriginal population is now known based on a new Caribbean DNA study published in the journal Nature, which fuses decades of archaeological work with cutting-edge genetic technology. And this breakthrough study shows that the local population before the arrival of the Spanish was much lower and far less heterogeneous than thought. That is from Critical Thinking. Caribbean DNA study challenges Spanish assumptions. Professor David Reich of the Harvard Medical School led a team of researchers who analyzed the genomes of 263 individuals, representing the largest ever study of ancient human DNA in the Americas. The Caribbean DNA study concluded that the Caribbean had been settled by two major migratory waves of highly mobile people separated by thousands of years. However, according to an article by the Florida Museum of Natural History, on their way to this conclusion, the researchers developed a new genetic technique for estimating the island's past population size prior to the first Spanish landings. This is quite important. Now, when the first Europeans arrived, the number of people living in the Caribbean was far smaller than 1.1 million, reported by Columbus's brother Bartholomew. Professor of Archaeology William Keegan from the Florida Museum of Natural History was co-senior author of the new study, and he told the New York Times that this study of ancient DNA moves the academic understanding of the Caribbean's history forward dramatically in one fell swoop. Two ancient waves of Caribbean DNA. The new genetic evidence offers insights into the early people of the Caribbean and suggests that the island's first inhabitants were a group of stone tool users who had boated to Cuba about 6,000 years ago. Now, these first inhabitants expanded eastward and populated other smaller islands during the region's archaic age. The study determined that they had closer genetic links with people from Central and South America compared to the ancient DNA from North American Indian cultures, and further cementing this origins story. Now, artifacts found in Belize and Cuba also suggest they had a Central American origin. The second ancient pathway into the Caribbean was forged 2,500 to 3,000 years ago by groups of migrating farmers. The paper says these people were related to the Arawak speakers of Northeast or South America, who had paddled the fingers of South America's Orinoco River basin from the interior to coastal Venezuela, then northwards into the Caribbean Sea. After settling on Puerto Rico, these explorers traveled westward, beginning the region's ceramic age. which is defined by these farmers' agricultural methods and style of pottery. Now, the New Caribbean DNA study also relied on ceramic evidence. Before this new study was published, there had always been unclarity regarding the various styles of pottery discovered in the Caribbean, each of which was associated with later migration waves. However, the newly gained genetic information finally determines that all the fragments of ancient pottery found in the region were created by one group of people over time. Another aspect of the study analyzed the X chromosomes from 19 pairs of genetic cousins who had all lived on different islands but were separated by several generations. For example, the DNA from a man buried in the Bahamas was matched with another man discovered 600 miles away in the Dominican Republic, according to the paper. Dr. Reich wrote that there's such a finding. By the way, I'm gonna pause right there to suggest this. It is not difficult. They didn't have the ease of mobility. They never had the ease of mobility. The people in the islands at the time, these people, they never had the ease of mobility. So yes, you can find that one man was related to another person 600 years, but it shows how the travel was active. And I said that in the last class. The people of the Caribbean, they were actively traveling. And many of these, and they washed up on the islands. And by the way, the narrative begins by saying that Christopher Columbus were the first people to have washed up on the islands. But then later on talk about other people mobile people who were washed up on the island, mobile farmers who came and traveled all along the island. So that's a contradiction right there, okay? But it is quite interesting as we talk about the importance of rethinking our heritage and studying our heritage and our roots and questioning whether or not we have misunderstood our heritage. And now we're hearing that what we thought about the Spanish DNA is completely different. Now new studies researchers are finding some different evidence that's suggesting something different and something new as it relates to how the people of the Caribbean were closely connected, although they were separate. But they were very diverse and mixed, and there was lots of intermingling that has always defined the Americas. By the way, you can watch this video. Is available. It's called Caribbean Origins, History, Migrations, and DNA. I won't read any more of this, but it is available on YouTube, and you notice these people's help. So you guys can watch that. I'll stop right here.